Imagine if you could build a channel with 1 million subscribers. The number one most important ingredient for this is, now why is that important? Because if nobody hears about your awesome product, it's not going to be very useful for people. How many people do you think will be absolutely thrilled to create content which will be viewed hundreds of thousands of times and shared by people and just appreciated? Imagine if you could build a channel with 1 million subscribers who know your brand and are happy about every new video you release. Wouldn't it be an amazing feeling? Besides the absolutely life-changing impact it will have on your life? Well, that's exactly what we built in the last few years with our Tech World with Nana YouTube channel. And hopefully what I will build with this channel in a few years. So do you want to know what lessons I've learned in achieving such a big milestone and which ones I plan to use to replicate the same success for this channel as well? Let's dive in. First, let's establish that what we want to achieve here is a brand. Not some 30-second viral videos of cats with 10 million views, but actual connection of a few thousand or 10,000 people with your personal brand. The number one most important ingredient for this is value. What do I mean by that? You would think a great social media strategy should be to just produce as much content as possible and just push them out on all different channels, all different platforms, and they will all start generating views and attract people to your content. Wrong. I know it sounds kind of logical, but it's actually not. Because you should focus on quality, which automatically reduces the quantity, because you cannot create as much if you're focused on quality, especially at the beginning when you're alone, you're just one person with limited resources. Now, very important to understand that quality does not mean a professional setting of the video and the best microphone. In fact, this studio here, we actually just built it recently. When we started Tech with Nana channel, I had a $100 microphone that I had from my college project actually, and I was literally using MacBook's built-in video camera to record intros of those first videos. I was using the Keynote Slides application for creating the visuals. That's what we started with. In fact, the video that we recorded with this cheap setup has the most views on our channel. So with quality, I actually mean the message or content quality, not the video quality itself, which is a very important distinction. Which also means that you can't just do this on the side or take shortcuts like, oh, you know, I'll just let AI generate this whole thing for me so I don't have any work. You actually need to approach this as a project. Because think about it, creating a new movie isn't something that people just do on the side, right? Oh, you know, let's just create 10 short movies and one of them will become popular. Instead, people gather all the resources and they pour all their resources to try to make that one movie the best possible movie with all their creative efforts. That's how you should approach content creation, especially at the beginning, if you want to build a strong social media brand. Now, I'll tell you how this strategy helped us build Tech with Nana brand. Whenever I would sit down to create a new tutorial video, my full focus was on teaching a subject in the best way possible. That would mean structuring the content, the flow of explanation, coming up with awesome examples to visualize the concepts I was explaining. So I would pick a topic, like a technology that I wanted to teach, and I would research for 2 to 3 weeks everything possible about the topic. I would watch every single video on YouTube on the subject and make notes about what each video that was already out there was missing that would be interesting for viewers. So I would ask myself, what questions and doubts would I have if I was learning this tool as a beginner? And which one of those questions are not covered in any of those existing videos? And then create content around those questions. And guess what parts were missing? The ones that were the most difficult to answer. And that was my opportunity to do the hard work for the viewers. And it paid off every time. Almost every video on every technology that we created would become the last stop, like the video on Kubernetes or the video on Prometheus on the entire YouTube channel. And people started sharing it because I poured all my effort and energy in every single video instead of trying to create as many as possible. So it was a lot of work per piece of content. We were able to produce only one video every week or every 2 weeks with full-time work, but that video would get tons of views and it would push the entire channel. So overall, it always paid off. Now, here is another big misconception related to what I said before. People say, you know what, let's create a bunch of small videos to build a brand. It's easier, faster, and we'll have more content to distribute. Now, here's the problem with that. Brand is a trust, a connection that someone creates, and that trust and connection needs time to build, specifically time spent with you or with your content. Imagine you wanted to become friends with someone, to build deep friendship, and you met that person weekly for 5 minutes on a coffee break or whatever. Or you met with them just once in a month, but you spent the whole day together. You went on a trip together. Do you think the depth of friendship will be greater from that one long trip, time spent together? Same with content. With short videos, you basically stay on this shallow connection and you don't have anyone who has had enough time and opportunity to create that deeper connection with you. Because as soon as you started talking, it was already over in just a few seconds. And that's why long form content is much better for building that deeper connection with audience. Now, here's what's even better. When you start with long format and add those short ones on top of it. So now you have those monthly trips and those weekly meetings as well. So you have both depth and frequency of communication with your community. This will really help you solidify that connection. Very important, you gotta do this over a month, just like in friendship or human relationships. And even though friendship analogy is an example, those people, the viewers who spend time with your content, will literally feel like they're friends with you, like they know you on a personal level, which is exactly what the strength and benefit of a personal brand is. Now, here's a story to highlight that. Last year, I was attending an engineering conference where I met a few content creators that I had known from social media in person for the first time. They knew my content, I knew their content. So we just knew each other by following each other's social media accounts. We never met and we never even messaged on social media, I think. Like, we never exchanged any conversation. So we met at this event and it felt like we were longtime friends, or at least acquaintances. Like, we had tons of things to talk about and we had a lot of fun at this event. So all these initial getting to know things like small talk, introducing yourself, kind of explaining what you do and so on, all of that was gone. Like, it was not necessary. And it really felt like we already knew each other really well. So we skipped all this boring small talk introduction phase and moved into the fun part immediately, which is hanging out, enjoying the event. And that is the power of social media personal branding. Now, one more ingredient you need in this mix. On YouTube specifically, there is this milestone that you have to achieve, which is 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours watch time in order to kind of unlock the first level, where YouTube will even recognize that your channel exists. And this is a milestone where you can unlock the monetization on YouTube. Now, why is that important? Well, logically enough, YouTube will want to promote videos where monetization is enabled. That's the business model of YouTube. So you kind of have to push your videos really hard at the beginning until you hit that first milestone. And let me tell you, getting 4,000 hours of watch time without help of YouTube algorithm, really hard. So this is what we did with Tech with Nana. We first created good content, but of course it was getting 100 views maximum at the beginning. We would post them in Reddit groups or Facebook and LinkedIn groups, which were target groups for engineers specifically. So we would be like, hey, here is a tutorial for this specific tool in case you guys find it useful. No convincing that they watch the video or subscribe to the channel. It was literally just exposure. Like, here's a tutorial on this tool. If you find it interesting, watch it, no worries. So basically, just like in business, when you create a great product you think people would benefit from, you need to also market it and promote it, right? Because if nobody hears about your awesome product, it's not going to be very useful for people. So in order to build a YouTube channel and unlock that first milestone even, you need valuable pieces of content and you need to promote it yourself. And that's why it's important to understand that this whole process actually needs some time. Another interesting fact here is that we grew to 70,000 subscribers in the first year of producing content consistently, but in the second year, we grew to 500,000. Imagine how large of a discrepancy that is. So at the beginning, you always need the most power and most effort to get the ball rolling, and it becomes easier and easier down the line. Now, to wrap this up, I want to make this very clear. Can you go viral with content on TikTok? Yes, there is a chance that you can go viral on TikTok. Can you build a following faster? Also possible. But most people don't, and it's highly dependent on algorithm to work, and understanding and studying the science of hooks and tips and whatever. So you have a chance, but the chance is very low. I never worried about having a hook or doing some hacks with the algorithm and so on, because in comparison, the strategy that I described works on every platform the same way. No matter the algorithm, no matter the trends and hooks and different social media strategies, because it's more of a foundational principle of what the viewers actually value, which means it has a much higher chance of succeeding. It's much more work maybe, but the outcome depends almost fully on you, not some external factors and algorithms. Now let me know if this advice was useful, or in case you have any other questions that are important to address. So make sure to leave them below. And with that, thanks for watching and see you in the next video.